the World Massage Conference.
Hello and welcome. This is Melanie Hayden of World Massage Conference, and I will be your host for this class on Turn Passion, Purpose, Connection, and Communication into Profits with our wonderful instructor, Margaret Wallis Duffy, who will be joining us today. And if you are joining us today for the live class, remember to jump into the chat room located just to the right of the broadcast screen and take advantage of the opportunity because Margaret is here to answer any of your questions during the live event and share your feedback with the other therapists from around the globe as well. Just before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsor. Thank you to our global sponsor, Massage Envy. Massage Envy is a community of caregivers committed to helping people feel their best. They believe that therapeutic massage and customized skincare are an integral part of the well-being journey. If you share this belief, they'd like to get to know you better. Learn more at massageenvy.com/careers. And thank you so much to our education partner. Associated Bodywork and Massage Professionals provides an extensive array of member benefits and exceptional liability insurance. Visit abmp.com to discover why over 80,000 massage and bodywork professionals have chosen ABMP as their professional association. And thank you to our daily sponsors, Massage and Bodywork Magazine, Bonvital, BioFreeze, and Massage Warehouse. Turn passion, purpose, connection, and communication into profits. You've transformed the lives of hundreds of people in your community who now feel their very best thanks to you. Now it's time to ramp things up. Proudly own your role as a massage therapist as you learn practical strategies for leveraging local media to communicate your passion for healing, health, and happiness. You'll also discover how to communicate with doctors and other healthcare professionals in order to help build credibility and profits. Get the skills you need to educate, empower, inspire people in your community and beyond while boosting your bottom line. I'd like to introduce our instructor, Margaret Wallis Duffy, is a massage therapist and clinic owner who specializes in pediatric massage. As one of Canada's leading wellness experts, media outlets across Canada often call on her for her expertise. She's appeared on numerous national TV shows, has had articles published in Canadian Living and Today's Parent, and she's been chosen as the national media spokesperson for companies such as Loblaw Canada, Johnson & Johnson, Traditional Medicinals, and Boren Laboratories. Today, she motivates countless others through producing and hosting her ultra-informative web TV shows on her Wow New Media YouTube channel and TV Kojiko, Your TV, and Cityline. Margaret, welcome to World Massage Conference. I love that you're here with us, going to be sharing and inspiring through your experiences through a really long and very successful career in our profession.
Well, thank you, Melanie. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to be with you today, and nothing fires me up more than having the opportunity to impart my experience, knowledge, and to share my passion for the power of touch and what we can do to really have a successful career. So I'm really excited.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to this, and I know everybody else is, so let's get started.
You betcha. So thanks for turning it over to me, and I'm really looking forward to, over the next hour or so, imparting some stories and knowledge and learnings that I've had in my 25-year career as a massage therapist, and going to challenge you to actually think differently about the career that you're currently embarking on, or maybe the one that you've been in for a very long time. So let's get started. So let's begin with looking at, what are you focusing on? You know, I don't know that many of us take much time to really stop and evaluate what we're focusing on. We all know as healthcare professionals, and we've certainly studied, that there's this thing called neuroplasticity. Our brain always has the opportunity to learn and grow day to day. But we often don't take advantage of that, and we can often get stuck in a rut. It's really easy to miss something that you're not looking for or that you're not focused on. You know, as RMTs, we're fortunate to be part of an amazing profession, and we have an impact on so many people's mental, physical, and even spiritual well-being. And that is really an honor. However, although I believe in honing our skills and constantly looking at ways to improve our hands-on knowledge, we often don't think about how we can use our knowledge and clinical experience outside the treatment room walls. And today, that's exactly what I'm going to challenge you to do, is to challenge your belief system and really evaluate how we can take this beyond the treatment room walls to have a successful career. So what I'd like to do is for you to have a quick look at this short video, really focus in on this video, and we'll be back in just a moment.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Go!
So you took that awareness test. What'd you think? It's kind of interesting, isn't it? The reason that I wanted to show you that video is because it really truly shows us that when we're focusing on one thing, and in this case, we were watching the white shirts and how many passes were being made, we often miss really incredible opportunities or changes in our life that could really have a massive impact both on our health as well as on our business. So what are you focusing on? Do you ever, as a therapist, take the time in your career to really stop and evaluate what you're focusing on, and better yet, what you want to become? We have to begin to shift this paradigm of thinking so that we can have a long, passionate, and purposeful career as a massage therapist. So where do we begin? Well, we have to look at who's listening to us, who's our audience, and what do we want them to hear. The only way we can do that and to be effective is to be clear ourselves and to do some self-evaluation. Now, I know a lot of you are going to find this challenging. I certainly do. But I got to tell you, I challenge my perspective almost every week in my practice. Because without challenging our perspective and without recognizing we have limiting beliefs, we can't grow and we can't change and we can't have the career that we all deserve. So let's talk about what our limiting beliefs are. Now, I've just put a few here on the slide, and this is really just meant to ignite some thought processes for yourself. And you see that graphic. I chose that for a good reason. I can do it is the mantra I want you to start using. Perhaps your limiting belief is that you don't have enough resources. You're lacking in resources. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the knowledge to do public speaking. I've never done that before, or I've never worked on a baby. So, I don't think baby massage could be for me. I don't have the money. Money is often a barrier or a limiting belief. Let me tell you, when there's a will, there's a way. Many of us are frightened to death of failure. Let me tell you, 25 years of practice, I've got to tell you that is one of the biggest reasons I've had success, is because I embrace failure. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But that is something that you're going to need to get comfortable with. But recognize, is that one of your limiting beliefs? You're worried about failing. Maybe you think doctors won't refer to you. Or, you know what, massage is just physically demanding. So I'm only going to last in the massage industry for 7 years. And then I'm going to have to get another career or to supplement my income, even though I'm passionate about massage therapy. That certainly was my belief. I was passionate, and I wasn't going to let the physical nature of my career impact my longevity, and we're going to talk about that as well. What about maybe massage therapy is limiting? You can really only do it in the walls of a clinic or in your home, but maybe you haven't really given it some thought about how we can really challenge our belief system. I want to talk a little bit about the brain and the subconscious mind so that you can understand that this isn't all fluff and stuff, that there's real science behind these thoughts that we're having and our actions. Are you aware that we have anywhere from 12 to 60,000 thoughts in our head per day? That sounds exhausting, but it's a reality. But according to research, as many as 98% of them are exactly the same as the ones we had the day before. We get into a rut. We think the same things over and over again. We become creatures of habit. Even more significant than that, 80% of those thoughts are negative. That's actually really sad, but that's the way this reel of thought plays over and over in our subconscious mind unless we deliberately take action to change our mindset. Now, here's the good news. We have control of that, and we can change our mindset, but it's going to take work. So as massage therapists, we know firsthand the power of the mind and body connection, and therefore our mindset is going to determine our actions, and our actions are going to determine our outcomes. So we need to get really clear about what's limiting us in our belief system and then actually be willing to do the work in order to change those. Now, you're going to find at the end of the presentation there are several worksheets that I've attached, and this is meant for you to do after this seminar today. This is meant for it to be your action plan, your ability to do your homework, and actually put what I'm talking about into action so that you can feel empowered rather than just listen to me, hear my story, and not put into action. The first worksheet that I'm going to want to refer you to is your mission and goals worksheet. How many of you have actually created a mission and goal statement for yourself and perhaps for your clinic? This is crucial. Now, we're not going to have time today to talk about how you create that, but I have put a worksheet in there to get you started, and we will discuss at the end of the presentation some opportunities where you can continue your learning with that respect. Now, let's talk about cultivating that positive mindset. There are essentially, I've broken this down to make it simple, 5 tips to cultivate a positive mindset. The first one, it's the biggest one. You need to challenge your thoughts. Just because you think it doesn't mean you need to become it, or just because you've been told it all your life. Maybe you've been told you're not smart enough, or perhaps you're not strong enough, or maybe, oh, you're not a public speaker. Maybe that's what's been told to you, or maybe that's what you've been telling yourself. It's time to challenge your own thoughts. So when old thinking starts to come up, and it will, it's not enough just to try to ignore it and, just push it aside. We need to challenge those beliefs. Is everything too expensive, or is it just that I can't afford it? I want you to weigh your thoughts against the evidence that's around you. If they crumble under scrutiny, then explore why you believe in them in the first place. By challenging these thoughts over time, your mindset actually begins to evolve, and so does your belief system, which really feeds your confidence muscle, which we're going to talk about in a bit. I got to tell you, one of the ways that I help when I'm struggling with a negative mindset or a struggle, an obstacle that I've had, a game changer for me, and you're going to see this moving down in self-care, which is number 4 on this tip, but I'm going to jump ahead here because it's appropriate. And that is, I meditate every single morning. Now, I've got to tell you, I've got to do a guided meditation because I got monkey brain and there's so much in my head, and I'm sure many of you can relate to that. It's really hard to quiet your mind. But I will tell you, with guided meditation, consistency and practice, that's why they call it meditation practice, it is incredible how you can not only get quiet and hear what your heart's desire is, but you can also reinsert new thoughts. I am strong enough. I am going to push through my fear and do that public speaking that I didn't want to do. Or I am going to take that course that I was so nervous to take because I know that I can do it. Over time, you challenge your thoughts, your beliefs will follow. One of the things in order to do that is to put things into action. And I strongly recommend you do a daily personal development practice. This is individual for each and every person, so that's why I made this very vague. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I do. It's really important that you feed yourself positive input. And I'm not just talking about affirmations. Affirmations are amazing, but there's that subconscious mind that's always going to be up there. We need to put things into action. So as therapists, we tell everyone else, you need to move your body to be healthy. You need to eat right. You need to sleep well. Personal development for me is all of those things. I do a lot of personal development reading. Anytime I can get my hands on some personal development books, I'm reading it. I'm looking at quotes from other people. I'm surrounding myself with positive people. I'm trying to consume positive media, because if we just hold our smartphone day to day, there's so much negative that we take in, and that can impact our own positive mindset. Number 3, seek out positive people or mentors. And don't just seek them out and watch them. Examine their actions. Better yet, take it a step further. On a regular basis, when I see someone I admire, maybe they have a skill that I think is amazing and I'd like to learn, or maybe it's something that I know I never will be, but I'm intrigued by it. I go out of my comfort zone and I will ask if I can even just do an interview with them, or could I shadow them? Or maybe it's just that I'm following them regularly on Instagram and I reach out to them in a private message because something resonated with me and I have an opportunity to interact with them. It is amazing when on a regular basis you find people that reflect your values, that you want to adopt. It actually starts to change what you do in your own life. Join groups online and go to networking or social events focused on personal growth. As your own mind starts to change, it becomes easier to connect with more positive people. You know, it never ceases to amaze me. And this isn't coincidence. When you're a positive person and you start to surround yourself by positives, all of a sudden it's like a magnet. You're attracting other positive people. And the same goes with a negative social circle. It acts like an echo chamber for bad ideas. If you're always surrounding yourself with negative people that don't believe in what they're doing or maybe are jealous of your positive mindset, I call them trippers in life. You know, early in my career and as a young woman, there were people that wanted you to fail. And, you know, I think I'm a fairly optimistic person, and I used to always go right into the trap of that person that had their foot out, making me ready to trip over it, until I got smart and recognized it in advance. And now I just bless and walk around them. I see it in advance, and I choose to surround myself with more positive people. Now, however, ones that are also pragmatic and willing to give very positive feedback that is constructive, because that is key as well. Number 4, practice what you preach. Self-care is crucial. How can you be a massage therapist and not be interested in having a healthy body and a healthy mind yourself? You need to practice what you preach so that you can be the best for others. And most importantly, so that you can be the best for yourself. And then lastly, all of this mindset discussion is nothing if you don't have an action plan. This is crucial. I'm going to share with you a resource. There's an incredible guy named Jerry Viska. He's called the Why Guy. I had the pleasure of having some why time with this incredible author. He's an architect, and now he architects people's lives by helping to inspire 1 million whys. That is his mission. And when I had my why time with him, and as he says, why stands for the world helped by you. Cool is that? Because it's so unique to you. There may be hundreds of massage therapists in your area where you work, but no one's like you. But if you don't get quiet and clear about what your why is, how you are different and unique from everyone else, and then put it into action, then you're going to be like everyone else. And you're going to limit your ability to expand your horizons inside and outside the treatment room. So you need that action plan. I've put a worksheet available for you to help you unlock your why, because here's what I know from years in practice and from treating people as well as having colleagues that work with me in my clinic. Many of us simply don't even know what our why is anymore. And I'm not asking you what your why is that somebody else wants for you. What fires you up? What makes you want to get out of bed in the morning and have the best day possible? You know, when you were a kid, there were things that you just did that just gave you pure joy. You're going to find on that worksheet, it's going to help you walk you through some steps to maybe start to unlock that why that's in all of us, but maybe it's been buried for a long time. Because as we move through this presentation today, you need to start thinking about what is your why, because that's holding the answer to what you're going to do in your communication that will lead you to better profit. Back to this slide, I want us to all, as healthcare professionals, as massage therapists, remember that we hold the keys to transform hundreds or thousands of lives. What an incredible opportunity. It's not just about massage. We're changing and transforming lives. In our 24/7 society, at a time when many people suffer with stress, they live in fear, maybe of losing their jobs or getting sick, we, as therapists, have a unique proposition. We're often discouraged in our society to touch. In schools and workplaces, it's taboo. There's a strange paradox as people are craving touch so desperately. Yet there are few places to receive good, therapeutic, transformative touch. But guess what? We have that within our hands. And not just within our hands. We need to think outside the box, or in our case, outside the treatment room walls. Because when you do that, the sky is the limit. So it's time to think outside the box so that you can design a career that you want. And then together, we can elevate this incredible profession to the level that I think it deserves to be. But in order to do that, I like to talk about innovation via Imagineering. You know, what does this mean? You have to take risks and be willing to fail forward. Remember I said about your limiting beliefs? If you're frightened of failure, well, by the end of this hour, I'm going to hopefully help you to get a little bit cozier with that idea, because you need to fail forward. And what do I mean by that? You need to embrace the potential of failing, because the learning that can come as a result of that is unbelievably profound. Trust me, and I'm going to share my story in a little bit and explain to you how that can happen. Unleashing your passion, you have to remember your purpose and be willing to persevere. Recently, I was asked, and this was such an honor. Imagine this, as a massage therapist, I was asked to present to the engineering graduate students at the University of Toronto, the Innovation via Imagineering program at the University of Toronto. And of course, what did I immediately have? I had my limiting beliefs. They want a massage therapist to go speak to a group of engineers? I'm not worthy of that. Well, I had to practice what I preach. Why would they want a massage therapist to lecture to a group of engineers? Well, you know what was really cool? Professor Parody felt that my career story was a great example of Imagineering. But here's the cool thing. I'm not special. We all are. Applying our knowledge, our clinical experience, and our passion outside our treatment room walls can result in the creation of other revenue generation models and businesses. Perhaps paid public speaking engagements, or if that's not your jam, maybe it's media work. If that scares you, maybe it's online education. Maybe it's a massage oil development like I did, or sales, or doing conferences like I'm so honored to be on the World Massage Conference right now. There are many ways to use this incredible knowledge, experience, and education that we have. You need to dream with purpose and recognize there's a gap in care and service, and then act on or bridge that gap. But the only way to do that is by being willing to fail again, pick yourself up, learn from it, and try again. Because confidence is like a muscle. And we have to work on it. Just like building any muscle, we have to work on it. You have to work over and over and over again. Persistence is key. And here's one thing that I want you to do when you get off this seminar today. And it's going to feel really uncomfortable. When I do a presentation live, I often have people do this right there, right then, unexpected. And it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. And that's exactly where I want you to be. And that is self-promotion. It is critical, but it makes all of us feel uncomfortable. And I'm going to even challenge your belief system and perhaps when you look at other people that look so confident, you know, maybe you follow them on social media or you see them at conferences speaking and you think, oh, they got it all figured out and they're so confident. And well, I got news for you. No one is always confident. No one always feels worthy. I'm sure many of you have heard of the imposter syndrome. I suffer from that on a daily basis. What is the imposter syndrome? Well, it's where just when Dr. Parody asked me to speak to an engineering class, why would I be worthy enough to do that? They're going to figure out that I'm not good enough. I'm not, this is out of my comfort zone. This is not where I should be. They're going to realize I'm an imposter. But instead, I leaned into vulnerability. I walked into that lecture hall at the University of Toronto, and I flexed my confidence muscle because here's what I know. Magic happens when you live where the butterflies are. And I got to tell you, those butterflies were flapping that day when I walked into that lecture hall. But the difference was that what I was about to speak to them about, which was my career and how thinking outside the box and applying your knowledge could be applied to any profession. They were on the edge of their seat. One of them told me at the end of the presentation that it was one of the best presentations they'd ever seen. Almost brought me to tears. But if I hadn't lived where the butterflies are, I would have said no to that opportunity, and I would never have gone in the first place. So you got to start to practice, although you might believe that it's bragging. It's necessary to build your confidence in your business by finding, and I want you to do this right now while you're sitting here. Write the top 3 amazing things about yourself. 3 incredible things as you as a person and you as a therapist. And I want you to find a way to tell someone, and not someone necessarily that you know. Maybe it's somebody at the grocery store. You're going to find a way, even though you're uncomfortable. You're going to take a deep breath, and you're going to share your epicness with someone else, because that is where, when we get out of those comfort zones and we live where the butterflies are, that is where the magic happens. So let's talk a little bit about the magic. And I think it is important to share my story, and I'm not going to make this a long one, but I think for those of you that don't know me, it's important to recognize that I may not necessarily look like my story. And it's not about my story, it's about our story. So when you're listening to my story, we all have one. We've all had challenges and obstacles in our life, but it's the way we respond to these that makes the difference. So let me share with you. My story really starts with my own health journey, and it was a very, very difficult one. Before the age of 25, I'd already had 10 surgeries, 4 bowel obstructions, a lung collapse. In fact, my lung collapsed 6 weeks before I wrote my government exam for massage therapy. I really wanted to throw in the towel. I had a mother that said, you're absolutely not going to do that. You're going to be the best darn massage therapist that ever walked this planet. And you know what? She breathed belief into me. You need belief breathers. So find some of those as well. I also went through menopause at the age of 39, and I had a fecal transplant, a poop transplant, like on Grey's Anatomy, because I got food poisoning, was put in hospital, and ended up getting C. difficile, a very serious, life-threatening hospital-borne infection that almost killed me. What I knew from my own experience was that I needed conventional medicine, but what I also needed was the support of complementary medicine, hence what we do. I exist to make collaborations in healthcare happen, and my why was unlocked when I found my struggle through my own health journey and opened Wallis for Wellness 25 years ago, because I didn't want anyone else to have the experience that I had. I wanted to link arms with all types of healthcare professionals, and I got to tell you, 25 years ago, integrative medicine was not what it is today. I think even some of my own family thought I was going to be hugging a tree and howling at the moon. It is not something that was in the consciousness of most people. What's this integrative health, complementary health, prevention? We were a pill for an ill society. We just need to, wait till it's broken and we'll fix it. Or it's an alternative. I hate the word alternative medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I belong in this integrative healthcare model, right in the middle of it. And my story has proven that we can do this. So I had a vision. I wanted to start Wallis for Wellness, an integrative healthcare center, which now has celebrated 25 years in business. And very early in the game, I knew that I didn't have the money to market myself. So you know what I did? Many of you might not even know what a fax machine is. I faxed one of the nationwide television shows called City Line for over a year. Every day telling them I'd love to do a story with them on various things related to massage and the power of touch. Finally, I think they thought, I got to do something with this woman because she's driving me crazy. And they decided to bring a camera crew to my clinic where we did some segments. That led to me going in studio and doing live television work. That opened the door, knock, 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 butterflies galore, to being a media spokesperson for companies, as Melanie discussed at the beginning, like Johnson & Johnson, where they did media training for me. I didn't go to broadcast school, but I leaned into vulnerability and took the risk. Did I have lots of failures? You bet I did. In fact, you might be able to Google this, and now you're all going to. I should be saying it, but the first time I ever did live TV hosting on Rogers Television, I was praying that no one that knew me ever saw it, because I'll tell you, it's a different skill set. And I wouldn't say I failed. I wasn't good at it, but boy, did I learn a lot and take that moving forward. And then 25 years later, this happened. I'm now the CEO of Wow New Media, to educate, empower, and inspire people through a broadcast quality web television and community health events and e-learning. So the reason I share my story, and your story may be very different, of course, but if you take your why and you look at your story and you really unleash that inner passion for what you want your audience to hear, now I want to help you effectively communicate that message so that you can turn it into actual revenue. So let's talk about that, because here's the reality. You can have great ideas and you can be really smart and take all kinds of courses, but if you can't communicate your message, then it doesn't matter, does it? And I want to be clear, I'm going to make references here. When we're talking about communication, this is communicating. This could be in front of a television camera crew. This could be communicating one-on-one with a potential client or patient in front of you. This could be communicating with another healthcare professional, maybe a doctor, a surgeon. That's right. I've spoken in front of a room full of radiologists. They flew me to Winnipeg to speak to radiologists on health and wellness, me, the massage therapist. Why? Because I communicated a message, a gap in something that they needed, which was self-care. And I went out there and knocked it out of the park. Not only did it help me, and I was paid to do that, but it referred to my clinic. But how do you do that effectively? Well, here are some things that you need to look at. So the top 6 tools to wow your audience and effectively communicate your message. The first one I'd like to discuss is be prepared. And I have that bold in caps for a reason. You need to know your key messages inside and out. This, I can't tell you, I can't express more clearly how important this is. When you are in control, it becomes, remember when I talked at the beginning about when you practice something, it becomes a habit in our brain, those thoughts, it actually becomes part of your day-to-day vernacular, and it just rolls off your tongue without thinking. The other reason why you need to be prepared is because here's the reality. Most people aren't. I'm going to let that sit for a second. Most people aren't prepared. So when you've taken the time to do the action and create 3 to 5 key messages, and actually, I'm having an issue here with my, wait a second. There we go. 3 to 5 key messages, because that's a good number for you to remember. You want to think of the following things. You want these messages to be crisp, punchy, but to the point. You need to think about your audience, not about you. And this is where a lot of therapists, I find, make a mistake. They talk about themselves too much. You know, how good they are about, I assume you're a great therapist. But what does your audience need from you? And that's when you bring, I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about yourself. Of course you have to. I just told you you needed to start self-promoting. But you need it to resonate with them. So these crisp messages need to resonate with your audience. And it needs to be quick and easy to remember. For 2 reasons. A, it'll flow off your tongue beautifully. And B, guess what will happen? It'll stay stuck in the head of your audience. Really, really important. And it becomes kind of your mantra. Make a list of important things you want your audience to know about you or your business. That is key. If you haven't done this groundwork, how are you promoting yourself? How do you expect to have great referrals from doctors or new patients walking into your clinic if you're not even clear about what you're doing? The key is to focus, focus, focus. So first thing, key message. Remember those little tips. Secondly, we want to become better at the art of bridging. So what is bridging? Well, this I had the pleasure of learning about and now honing over the last 20 years when I learned about this in media. But this can be done in day-to-day conversations in your clinic. A bridging statement is simply a transition from one topic based on an interviewer or a reporter's question or maybe a client's question to another subject that you want to talk about, your key message. This technique can be used when conversing with other healthcare professionals who may have another agenda. I want to give you an example. Have you ever been in front of a healthcare professional who perhaps doesn't believe in massage or thinks it's limiting? Oh, it's a passive therapy and, I don't want to refer people to you because it's just a passive therapy. Well, if you buy into that and you say nothing, you're going to get nothing in return. But if you use a bridging statement, which can be very, very powerful, it can really turn things around. So here's an example of a bridging statement. And it really is kind of, I'm going to be honest, it's a bit manipulative. But done properly and with practice, it's very, very powerful. You might say something simple like this. I think what you're really asking me is, and then I'm going to plug in my message, that massage is excellent for relaxation, but are you aware of the research that is available that shows that cortisol levels are impacted by massage or that pain can be reduced? Key message insert. Or let me just add is another bridging statement. Let me just add that on top of the incredible relaxation benefits that massage can bring, are you aware of the following things that massage can offer to the health and well-being of your client or your patient? And then name some. So just let me add, or I think what you're really asking is, or acknowledge what they said, yes, but that speaks to a bigger point. And then take them on a bit of a detour, a bridge to your new message. This is exceptionally helpful in an interview when a reporter hasn't done their homework. And maybe you're so excited because your local newspaper or your local television station or maybe someone online that has a large following wants to interview you. If you're not prepared and know your key messages and you don't know how to bridge, now you're in the mercy and hands of the reporter and their questions. And maybe the reporter hasn't even read your bio, doesn't really know what they're there to talk about, and has their own bias and their own limiting beliefs about massage. And so they might go down a path that we don't want to go down. And maybe, for example, let's do the taboo thing. They're going to say something about the sexual nature of massage. If you're not prepared with the key message and have a bridging statement to take them completely away from that and back to your key message, that what you thought potential interview that was going to be great for your business is now going to be not so great. You are the one that needs to be in control, and you're the one that needs to be able to have these techniques like the art of bridging to take that back. And the next one I love. We're not comfortable in society sitting with the silence. I talked about my monkey brain and my struggles earlier on with my meditation practice and why I needed guided meditation. I can't do it on my own. It's because it's hard to sit in silence. Like I'm used to you. It's even harder to sit in silence when you're in a conversation, potentially with someone, and there's a feeling of being uncomfortable. Maybe somebody has said something that is incorrect, or maybe it's actually a technique that reporters use to try to get you to say something more. They are really good, and you'll look differently at interviews now. When you watch a reporter, maybe there's a real contentious topic they're talking about. They'll ask some questions, and then the person will answer. You'll see a reporter pause. Our innate desire is to fill that silence. And the unfortunate thing is when we try to fill that space, we often make a mistake by filling it with stuff that we don't want to say, stuff that we're not prepared. Maybe it's an incorrect message, and we now are, looking looking for words instead of staying on, it's okay to sit with the silence. Because here's what will happen. If you are dealing with a naysayer, a doctor perhaps that doesn't believe in what you're doing, or it may be a client that, you're trying to convince that this particular treatment plan is the best thing for them, let them sit in silence. Let them think about it. Honor that. Only when something is said wrong should you jump in and immediately correct. But otherwise, get comfortable with your inner Buddha and just sit with the silence. Let's talk about the avoidance of being trapped. Here's some things that, can go, and all of us have done this, myself included, on a daily basis, in fact. But what I'm trying to do with this is to help you have better tips, practical strategies, and awareness. Awareness is key so that you can guide your conversation in a way so that you're going to have the outcome that you want. Don't ever repeat wrong information, whether it's a client repeating it back to you, maybe they misunderstood, whether it's a reporter saying, so what you said was, and they say something wrong, never repeat it. Always correct them. Now, of course, do it with respect. And it's okay to actually say, that's not true. What the facts are is blah, 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 blah. What the facts are, and then give what those facts are. If you don't know something, it's okay. Don't pretend to. Guess what? No one has all the answers. One of my biggest strengths is knowing my weaknesses, and this has been a game changer in building my practice and my 80% doctor referral rate that we have at the clinic. It might be more than that now. We have tremendous respect for the medical community, not just doctors, but all allied health professionals. And you want to know why I think why? I hope because we do great work and get good clinical outcomes. But I'll tell you why else. Because we know what we don't know, and we know how to make a good referral. And what that does is build confidence. Remember that confidence muscle? It builds confidence in everyone else, the other healthcare professionals, your clients, that you are going to do the best of your ability for what you know, and you're never going to pretend to do something that you don't. Because what you can say is, I don't know that, but you know what? I'm going to get back to you with an answer. Or better yet, and this is where I told you what my why was. I exist to make collaborations in healthcare happen. I've got this incredible stable of amazing healthcare professionals from all walks of life that I can rely on. And guess who that makes look good? It makes you as the practitioner look good. Because when I can say, you know what, I don't know the answer to this, or I'm stumped, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to refer you to this doctor and that physiotherapist, and this other massage therapist does a technique that I don't do. And then, you know what, we have a counselor that you might want to see. And then they start to heal and have a better health journey. They're grateful to me. And at the end of the day, how lucky are we as therapists to have the opportunity to do exactly that. But remember, always correct someone else or yourself as soon as possible when you're making a mistake. Okay, I love this one, and I love the graphic. When I found this graphic, it just is so, I'm so passionate about this. Please be authentically you. You, just you, yet animated. And what do I mean by that? We're not actors and actresses. We need to communicate with authenticity and so that we can have credibility and relatability. We need to be passionate. Because if you're not passionate, why should someone else be passionate about what you have to offer? But not over the top. One of the things that I've seen often, you know, in all the public speaking that I've done and the media work, I've never taken a Toastmasters, and I think it's fantastic and a great program. But one of the reasons I haven't is because I will say this. I'm not good reading a script. I'm good at listening to my heart, using my experience, and speaking from that place. Of course, you need to be prepared because like I've already told you, be prepared, know your key messages, have your stories that you can rely on to bring evidence and credibility. But the minute you try to start to act like someone else that you've watched, or you took a course and they said you had to do it this way, or maybe they even gave you a script that you're supposed to say, it immediately comes off wrong. It doesn't come off as you. Now, if you're applying this type of thing on camera, the camera deadens you. So when you are, and this is the same on Facebook or Twitter, if you're doing any sort of video, the camera deadens your animation. So you do have to bring it. So people are always amazed when they see me face to face. I mean, it would seem really silly. I'm about to show you what I would do when I go on camera. I may say something like, "Hi everyone, it's Margaret Wallis Duffy from Wallis for Wellness." You know, if I did that face to face with you, you'd think I'm crazy. But I got to tell you, when you see that on camera, it just makes me look alive and interested. Be aware that your body language tells 85% of your message. And I'll tell you, most people don't pay attention to their body language. And this is crucial. As massage therapists, we also we should be the best readers of body language. I mean, how often have you seen in clinical practice, there's a trigger point in the left levator scapula just by looking and by the body language of the person before that you even put your hands on them in your treatment room. That's when the treatment starts. And true good professionals really need to pay attention as well to body language in their communication, because that is going to make a huge impact on what that doctor thinks about you, what that potential client thinks about you, what that workplace that you may go and do in-chair massage at or do a lunch and learn at may think of you. Are you honoring yourself, and is your body language a reflection of the image you want to project? So body language actually is I'm going to go back to that slide for a minute. Just even looking at this particular slide, you can see from the looks on their faces, smiling is crucial. Putting your arms crossed over your body like that, it doesn't always mean that you're closed. I know some people will say that. But if you look at the woman standing with her arms crossed with a great big smile on her face, she's got a little bit of an authoritative, yet friendly posture. That's a good thing. Eye contact is so important. In my more extensive face-to-face, hands-on museum-type workshops, we do a lot on body language. So if you want more information about body language and how to hone your skills in it, there'll be information at the end of the presentation. So we're going to move on. We want the last thing in terms of wowing your audience, you want to personalize some sound bites. Now, what is a sound bite? A sound bite is anything from a single word to a sentence or two that is meant to capture the interest and attention of an audience. And instead, what I'd like you to stroke out there, instead of an audience, your audience. How are you going to authentically make these sound bites resonate with your audience? Effective sound bites are the ones that people remember. For those of you that live in Canada, I'm going to share a sound bite that you'll all laugh, and I'm trying to think of one that is global that everybody will think of. But there's a place called the Old High House in Ontario, and they sell leather jackets. And it's in a small little place called Acton. And they say it's worth the drive to Acton. And that was a sound bite. A sound bite is something, picture saying something that will resonate with somebody. It's short, concise, and they can't get it out of their head. A little jingle without it being a jingle. Here's a soundbite that I used when I was a media spokesperson for Johnson & Johnson. We were doing a nationwide tour on the power of touch in babies. And I'm an internationally certified massage instructor, so I love empowering parents with massage and other things. So here was one of my soundbites. Let me stock your parenting toolbox with practical tips and strategies so that you and your baby can live well. You can create a whole bunch of sound bites. And you know what? At first, it seems awkward. But take your mission and your values and your passion and your list of strengths that we talked about and create some sound bites. Have a little bit of fun with that. In the face-to-face workshop that I do, we start to create some of those. So that's something that we could certainly work on. Here's another one. Baby massage can help to reduce gas, colic, improve sleep, and bonding with your baby. Baby massage is a misnomer. The benefits continue to grow with your baby. When a mom is tired, massage grows with the baby? Then it opens the door, doesn't it, for future marketing? Yes, for growing pains. Bring your toddler in, because it's not just for babies. And then preschooler, and then high schooler. You get the point. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're personalizing those sound bites. I'm showing you this slide because I want to start to challenge your beliefs when it comes to who you are as a massage therapist and what the possibilities are outside of those treatment room walls. I knew very early in my practice that massage was physically demanding. I knew there were only so many hours in a day, and therefore it could be limiting in terms of the money that I could make. But the one thing that I knew for sure that I loved was education. I loved the feeling of educating the clients in my clinic, giving them remedial exercise, empowering them with hydrotherapy, talking to them about their body, connecting with other healthcare professionals so they could improve their diet and increase the amount of, fluid they were drinking and how that impacts the muscle. I was passionate about education. So when I leaned into vulnerability and did my first television appearance, I got bit by the media about it. I got to admit it, but it was scary. And about 7 years ago, I took an online media marketing course, and I had an epiphany. First of all, it was not unlike this. It was a webinar, and I was floored by the hundreds. Actually, I think there were a couple of thousand people on this webinar talking about social media and how it could be used in business and how to help build your brand. And I thought, but how am I going to do this as a massage therapist? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I spent the better part of 7 years putting together my own media team, as you found out earlier, Wow New Media. And this picture brings so much pride and joy into my heart because last fall, this is inside the William Wilson Health System, the new integrative hospital in Brampton where my clinic is. Before the doors even opened, I was allowed to come in with my media team and produce the Insight on Eye Health, a senior's perspective. What is a massage therapist doing? Producing, hosting, and bringing a wide range of healthcare professionals, some of the top in the country, or in North America actually, to talk about eye health. I'm a massage therapist. You know why? Because I could. And guess what I was able to do? I was able to get the power of touch in there. We talked about microcurrent point stimulation therapy, something that I do as a therapist. Our naturopath was in it and was talking about microcurrent for dry eye. But more importantly, why I'm showing you this slide is I want you to dream big. I want you to think about what fires you up and what can you do outside those treatment room walls that will challenge you, make you feel those butterflies, but that can also be a revenue generation model. This was sponsored by many huge sponsors, Nikon, Alcon, that I've now built a relationship with, that now we're doing one on diabetes. We're going to be doing one on the power of touch. But more importantly, what it's done is connect massage therapy to the broader healthcare model, which is where I want our profession to be. And only because I was willing to take a risk, I was willing to do the work, fail forward, and I was prepared. That took a lot of work, and I've learned a lot about eye health, which now is awesome as well, and I love to continue to learn. But I'm sharing this with you because I want you to challenge. What can you be doing to think differently? The next thing, podcast. I went to TV Coachico and said to them, I want to do a TV show podcast, which is going to be on iTunes and also on television. It has been a huge success. We challenge people's belief systems to think. We bring change makers to the table. Change makers like all of you. At the end of my seminar, listen up because I'm going to give a giveaway that I think you're going to be very excited about. I really want to challenge people's beliefs. Why did I call it Let's Just Do This? Because I'm cheeky. I've sat around so many change makers tables, committees, hospital boards. The Minister of Health I'm in talks with right now here in Canada, talking about preventative health and integrative health and how our model for healthcare must change moving forward, that we can't have a pill for an ill society, and that massage therapists need to be in the center of this equation because we can empower patients. And you know what? They all love the idea of preventative health. So 25 years later, here we are. Yes, integrative health seems like a good thing. But here's the problem. There's a lot of talking about it. There's not a lot of doing. So I would leave these meetings. I'd say, okay, well, let's do this. Let's just do it. And I'd be frustrated. So take frustration, turn it into passion, and then put action into play. Let's just do this, the podcast, because I want to challenge people's beliefs so there'll be change. We're bringing change makers, politicians, therapists. really to help people live well through all stages of life. And how proud am I that our profession is in the center of it. So what are you going to do to challenge people's belief? The other thing, online learning is another aspect that I do with WOW New Media. This is something that I'm excited about in the new year. We've got a major online program platform for millennial moms and workplace wellness. But this is also something that could be a revenue generation model for all therapists. If you have interest in this type of thing so that you can make some extra money while educating your patients, maybe you don't have the resources to create these types of broadcast quality great tutorials, I got your back. We can link arms together because as my anthology that's going to be released in 2018, my first book, it's called We're Better Together, an Evolved Vision for Healthcare. I brought 15 healthcare professionals to the table, doctors, pharmacists, therapists, massage therapists, you name it, every type of healthcare professional. We are going to do a working model for what I believe is an integrative approach to health. And massage is going to be part of that. So I want you to be part of this action. I think it's important to share some of my favorite resources. I talked about personal development. And, you know, some of you, I'm sure, have ones that you'll recommend. I've got a whole room full of development books. Here's a couple of my latest favorites, easy reads, but they're fantastic. They're also available online, lots of great videos. The Miracle Morning is a game changer. That story of Hal Elrod is remarkable. Not only was he in a life-threatening car accident and almost died, but he also was a multimillionaire and lost it all and then turned his life around, all with putting one foot in front of the other and doing what we talked about at the beginning of this presentation, a daily practice of self-development, and has turned it into money, which is what this presentation is all about. You've got to do the work. The Miracle Morning is a great read, and there's some action plans in that you can actually be putting into place. You got to love Mel Robbins. If you don't know Mel Robbins, you should. The 5-second rule. Remember I said live where the butterflies are? I do that every day. I'm going to tell you this week, as I was preparing for this presentation, my work has opened an opportunity to it scares me even talking about it. There is one of the largest Canadian pension funds called OMERS. They take care of all the pensions for teachers and all kinds of businesses. It's a massive company. They are very interested in our online offerings and our workplace wellness program. I've been asked to prepare a proposal for them to go in and present to their investment group. Butterflies are an understatement. I felt like I was going to be sick. So when they called me, and I applied the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins immediately. And what the 5-second rule is, that if you stop thinking, if you just act 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and do it, whether that's just to get you out of bed in the morning, you love that cozy bed, and you have a habit of sleeping in, and half your day is gone, and you really just can't get things done, and then you beat yourself up because you haven't got things done. You tell your brain, because this is neuroplasticity, you retrain your brain, you retrain that mindset, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and your feet hit the floor. Well, when I got that call, and my internal dialogue and my subconscious mind said, don't be silly, you can't do that, Mark. Oh my gosh, you don't have time for that, you don't have the ability. I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I said, yes, I would love to do that. Now, I thought someone had their hand around my throat because I went, oh my gosh, what did I just say? But here's the cool thing, and as therapists, you'll know this. Adrenaline and excitement has the same feeling as fear. You have a choice. How are you going to redefine your mindset? Is it going to be defined by fear? Or are you going to lean into that fear and see it as excitement and do the work so you can project and propel your profession and your career forward? That's where the magic happens. You got to breathe and believe and live where the butterflies are. Yes, as a massage therapist, we have so much we can offer, so much we can do. I am a massage therapist, and I'm so proud to be one. But I'm also more than that, and you should be too. Better yet, not you should be, you can be too. So what's your future hold? What do you want for yourself? I refer to some of the workbooks, and I want to refer to, handouts, worksheets. in the worksheets, you're going to find one that's the top 10 health goals, and one that's the top 10 fun goals, and one that's the top 10 business goals. If we believe in integrative health, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial, and we're telling and educating our patients and clients to feel that way too, you've got to practice what you preach. You need to fill out and do the work. What are your 10 health goals personally? What are your 10 top business goals? Don't forget about the fun. Because fun, if it's not fun, we're not going to be doing this. If you're not injecting fun into your day-to-day, I inject fun into my clinic, into my treatment room, into my presentation, anything that I'm doing every single day, authentically, because you can't pretend sometimes. I just went live the other day because I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't lose a contract. We weren't awarded a contract that I'd worked so hard for that I thought I was going to win. When I found out that I didn't, I was devastated. And you know what? I wanted to stay in bed with the covers over my head that morning. I applied the Mel Robbins rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get my sorry butt out of bed, went downstairs, did a workout, which I didn't want to do, took a deep breath, and then I turned the camera on and went live. I got to tell you, it was powerful, and so powerful in such a way for me because I was authentic and real with people. I wasn't feeling on top of the world like this guy was right then and there, but I was being authentic. And guess what happened? I was inundated with emails and text messages and private messages from people I know and I don't know online, thanking me for being real and authentic and for showing that it's okay to fail. And then I had a plan in place, and I told them, here's what I had done. I was sweating. I had no makeup on. I looked awful. I told them how I felt mentally in the morning, and I took a deep breath. And when I finished that Facebook Live, I felt like the world wasn't going to end, and I could start the rest of my day with a different mindset. Well, guess what? The failing forward, I looked at why didn't we get that contract? We've tweaked some of those things, and the big presentation that I'm about to do came as a result of a connection of the contract I didn't get. You never know what opportunity lies there. Back to the moonwalking there. Are your eyes open? Are you being aware? And are you ready to create the future that you deserve? But here's the last thing I'm going to leave you with. And it holds two purposes. It's my favorite quote. In fact, this quote is spray painted on the canvas in my reading room at my clinic. It's something I tell my kids every day. And I love this image of the elephant because I'm hoping you'll never forget. Attitudes are contagious. Is yours worth catching? It's a question. It's a question that I really want you to reflect on because a good or a bad attitude is equally as contagious. And if you choose to have a positive attitude, even on days when things go wrong, and you learn from that, it becomes a magnet. And as you can see, it's contagious. And others will follow suit. And before you know it, you're linking arms and making your dreams and your business goals come true, not by yourself, but with others. It has been an absolute blast with you the last hour. It really matters to me that I stay in touch with people. We are launching a new website. It's being completely revamped, and I apologize if you get there and it's not done yet. WallisForWellness.com is my clinic website. Let's Just Do This.ca. You can listen to our podcast. You can find Wow New Media on YouTube, but also on Wallis for Wellness. There's a Wow New Media, and you can watch some of our video documentaries and videos. But I want you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. It's really important to me that we continue this conversation. And so here's what I want to do. I'd love for you to visit the landing page and give me your email address and connect with me. And in return, here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be offering a 1-hour complimentary mentorship with me. You'll be filling out sort of a form in advance. You're going to have an hour of undivided time with me. But here's what I need back from you. I need you to do some of the work. I need you to put some of the stuff that I've talked about here into action. Try to do a soundbite. Try to make some of your key messages. Look at your vision and your mission. There's a handout about living a life of gratitude. Let's celebrate some of your successes and wins. And then I will have a great pleasure to sit with you and try to use my 25 years of business experience and coaching experience and being a therapist just like you, because I still treat every day. You know, there was a time I did 10 treatments a day. Now I do 10 a week. but I will say I'm arguably more passionate now about our profession than I was 25 years ago when I started. And that's because I constantly evolve that why. The world helped by me. I wish everyone well, be well, connect with me. I hope to see you soon. And stay in touch. You want to give me your email address as well so I can keep you. If you want to have a workshop in your area, I can come to you. And I also want you all on the list so you can get a hold of my anthology, We Are Better Together, that will be coming out later in 2018. Until next time, be well.
Margaret, thank you so much for such a fabulous class that just, I think the toolbox isn't even filling up. I think it's overflowing. Fabulous, fabulous. Well, thank you again, Margaret, for taking the time to be with us here today. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And just before we go, I'd also like to thank our global sponsor, Massage Envy. As a massage therapist, you put your heart and soul into helping others feel their best. You deserve a career that nurtures you as a person, an artist, and a professional. Visit massageenvy.com/careers to find a career that cares for you. Massage Envy franchise locations are independently owned and operated and are the sole employers for all positions they hire. Thank you to our education partner. Associated Bodywork and Massage Professionals provides an extensive array of member benefits and exceptional liability insurance. Visit abmp.com to discover why over 80,000 massage and bodywork professionals have chosen ABMP as their professional association. And thank you to our daily sponsors, Massage and Bodywork Magazine, Bon Vital, BioFreeze, and Massage Warehouse.